Hello, my name is Jordan Evans, and in this video we will be creating part 2, the housing. That is this part right here. If we step over to the housing drawing, we can see that it's quite a complicated shape. It will probably be the longest part created in this series. In the previous video we made the bush, so to create a new part we go new, and the housing is also a part, so we're going to go standard and press create. If we look at our housing drawing, we can see that it is a cylindrical sort of shape in that it revolves around this axis here. Therefore, we're only going to draw this top half here, and then we will revolve it around the center axis. Therefore, we'll start a new sketch on the XY plane again, and we will create first our center axis, which is this one here at 100 millimeters long. So we'll go there, make it 100 millimeters long. Then we want to create this line here, which, if we look at our drawing, is 45 millimeters on the inside, so therefore we will go up 45 over 2. If we go up 45 slash 2 for divided by 2. We will then go across to the other end and back down. Now, technically, we don't need that line or that line, so we will delete them by pressing the delete key. Then, we want to go up so far. However, we want to go up to a point which is at 35 millimeters. So, we'll go over here, and we'll create another line that just goes straight across. Then we will dimension this line to be 35 millimeters. Because if we look from there to there, it's 35 millimeters. The next step is we want to create this line here. Alright? Which we are given is 56 millimeters. So we're just going to go up. We're going to start on this line at any point we want, really. And we're just going to go up to however far we want. Then we want to dimension this line and this axis. We were told earlier that this dimension was 56, so we'll just put that in as 56. Then, to get to the top, we'll go from the top down to the bottom, and we're told that this distance here is this longest distance, which is 216. So therefore, this is 216, and that was in diameter, so you need to divide it by 2 to get the radius. Awesome. Now, what's actually interesting is that this line here goes up to 37.5 before it goes across. So we want to go from here to some point on this x-axis that we're just going to call wherever, and we're going to dimension from that point to this point here to be 37.5 over 2, because that's what that dimension there was, over 2. Actually, this one doesn't need to be over 2, I'm sorry. And there. The next part we should create is this across bit here. We aren't specifically told how wide it is, but we are told that it's 56 millimeters from this end and 24 millimeters from this end. We know that the total is 100. Therefore, this is 100 minus 56 minus 24. I'm lazy. I don't like doing maths in my head. So what I'll do, I'll go across. I'm just going to type in what I just said. So 100 minus 56 minus 24. And then press enter. And that gives us 20. We then want to go down to 70 millimeters. The way we're going to do this is we're just going to go down, and we know how long this is. We know what we want it to reach at, so therefore we know that this distance here is 108 minus 70, or what we could even do to make it a bit easier on ourselves, make sure it's at 90 degrees. Just go wherever. We're going to dimension this line to be 108 by just clicking on it, minus 70. Doing it this way is cool, because if we then change this number here, this 216, and we make it, say, 300, it will automatically make it so that this here is always going to be 70. We're going to make that back to 216 over 2, because remember, 216 over 2. We then want to go across this distance here, which we are told is the difference between 24 and 18. So we're going to go back across. I'm just going to go 24 minus 18. Then we want to just go down whatever this distance here is, which is 70 minus 60. So if we go 70 minus 60, you could do these all in your head or with a calculator. However, I don't feel like that is the best use of my time. And then down here there is a big radius, right? I don't particularly feel like doing that right now, so what we're going to do is we're going to do that as a fillet later. So we will go across and then back down again. Now this is where, if you watch the bush video, I made a mistake with my drawings, and so we will have to refer to the original drawings. Okay, if we look at these drawings here, we can tell that there is 10 millimeters between this point and this point. Therefore, when we go back to our inventor, we want to go back across 10 millimeters. We then, if we look at our drawing again, we want to go down to this point here, which is 37.5, and go back down to our original 35. So we will just go down until we're actually in line with this line, that line there, and we'll go back down to there. Now, that's a weird way of doing it, but that's just how it happens to be. We then want to do another line, so I'll press L again between there and there, and another line between there and there. Now, we have a couple extra weird lines, like this line here, this one here doesn't need to be here. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim those. We're going to press trim, or alternatively, I like to use X, and we're going to trim, for example, this line, and this line, this line, this line, that one, and that one. There we go. Now that is all trimmed. Then press tick. And we now want to revolve this around this center axis. So we're going to press R for revolve. We'll then click our face, and it's then going to prompt us to select the axis, which we want to select this axis. We then want to revolve 360 degrees, and there we go. My part looks a bit dark because my lighting engine has decided to bug out. There we go, that makes it look a bit nicer. So this is what our part looks like. Is it cool? Yeah. But is it complete? Not quite. We've got to draw a couple more parts to it. We've got to draw, for example, this little knob here that ends up on all of our end pieces, which this one, the original drawing had, had 4, right? 4 little bolts. My drawing has 6, you can do either. The process is the same. What we're going to do is we're going to start with 1. So, let's go back to inventor, and we're going to start on this face on this side, just because it might be a little bit easier. Then what we want to do, we want to draw a circle that is on this axis, so it will automatically snap. And how big do we want this circle, you may ask? Well, drawings themselves are 12 millimeters. Right? So we're going to go up, and we're going to go 12 millimeters. That's how big the holes are. We then want to draw this outside bit, which I, again, like the bush, have forgotten to do. So we're going to draw it the 25 millimeters from the other drawing. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go 25. There we go. Now, I again, so gracefully, decided not to include this measurement on my drawing, so we're going to have to refer back to this one again. We know that they're 178 millimeters apart, meaning that the difference between here and here is 178 over 2. So if we select the middle and select across, and we go 178/2 for divide by 2, it'll then move it to the right spot. We then want to extrude this shape up, not 10 millimeters though, only 3 millimeters. So we'll put in 3. Perfect. We then need to create a new shape, a new sketch, for example, on this drawing here. So we're going to go new sketch, zoom so we can actually see it, because it's going to be a pain like that. Go there, and make it the 12 millimeters that it originally was. You can either snap or just press 12. We then want to extrude this down and cut all the way through, and then press OK. We now have a hole. Perfect. The next step with these holes is we want to thread the inside. So we want to thread, and it'll automatically tell us how deep it wants it, and our measurement should automatically be M12 by 1.75, but double check, then press OK. Now, if you look at the drawing, it has these nice curved edges here. Now, this curved edge goes all the way around the circle, so you won't bother about that quite yet. But this one here goes around these little knobs. So if we go here, and we go, to create the curved edge is called a fillet. So we're going to go fillet, I'm going to go this edge, and this edge. Now, you could either do that as 2 millimeters, 3, whatever you decide. However, if we do it at 1.5, which is 3 over 2, it will create a perfect all the way across and all the way back. Just looks a bit nicer, but it doesn't really add a whole lot. So this R2, we're going to ignore that. We're going to go actually R1.5. Now, this is perfect, except we need to do this 6 more times and space it evenly around the whole circle. There's 2 ways of doing this. We could either literally do it 6 more times, or we can go over here to where it says circular. I'm going to create a circular pattern between, and we want this extrusion, this thread, and this fillet. If we were to click this sketch as well, which we can't actually click, plus extrusion 1. So you want extrusion 1, extrusion 2, thread 1, and fillet 1. This extrusion 3, this sketch 3 is my own mistake. We then want to press our rotation axis, and it should automatically want to place 6. However, not necessarily. If we wanted to create 4, we could press 4, 5, 45, etc. But we want 6. So we're going to then press OK. This has now created 6 identical holes all the way around the outside. this looks pretty good. But now what we want to do is we want to create all these nice curved edges, like that edge there, that one there, and this one here, and this one here. So, what we're going to do is we're also going to go fillet. And this time we're going to select the edges. So we want to select this one, if you remember, and this one here. These both are radius 3, even though I've happened to not include it up here. That's radius 3. That one there should also be radius 3. Let's go 3. And we can then press OK. The next one we want to do is this one in here. These two are radius 10. So we're going to click on our two edges, and we're going to set these to be 10. Because this dimension here is 10, this will be exactly the right curve. We then press OK, and look, that looks really nice. The next step we need to do is we need to measure the distance between there and there. So if the distance from here to here is our 45 over 2, if you remember from earlier, because the center distance is 45, we then need a plus 5.5. So what we're going to do is we're going to go plane. We want to create an offset plane. And we're going to press our XZ plane. And we're then going to do it our 45 over 2 plus 5.5. Press tick. Now this plane here cuts exactly where we want it to. What might make this easy for ourselves is if we go a half section view on this plane. What we're then going to do is just press tick because we don't really want to move it. Now, we want to create a new sketch on this plane. Next step we want to do is we want to create a circle along this line that is 22 millimeters across from this 22 millimeter number. We then want a dimension between this point and this line. We want this to be equal to half of this circle. So we're going to click this circle, divide by 2. That will always put it tangent to that surface, because if we make this, say, 40, it will still be tangent to the surface, but we still want it as 22. Now, this is pretty cool, but we want to extrude this, and we want to extrude it up. We're going to finish sketch. Now, once we finish sketch, we're going to extrude. We're going to extrude up until, and if we look from our, in this case, right, and if we rotate it so it looks upright, we then want to drag it up until it is perfectly in the middle there. It's not below this circle, and it's not above this circle. We then want to press cut. This means we have now created this hole here, this down, across, and back up again. We now need to create this little hole, which is really the easiest part. So we then want to start a new sketch in this circle here. If we view it from the side, it'll make it easier for ourselves. We then want to do is we want to create the 5 millimeter circle just anywhere we want. Let's go right there. As long as it's on this line. Then we want to select the edge of our circle, which happens to be 11 millimeters from, so if we go there, if we know that this whole circle is 22, and if we look at our measurement, we want it to be 17 from this edge. Therefore, if we go 17 minus 22 over 2 and press tick, it'll put it at exactly 6, which is the dimension we want. We can then extrude, and we want to go down. So we're going to select our face. Let's select that one, and we want to cut it. Normally when we've cut before, we've gone through all. However, we don't want it to go through everything. We only want it to go through a specific distance that we want. So we're going to unselect that. And as long as it goes somewhere in the middle, it doesn't really matter. Then press OK. Perfect. We've now created that hole. The last step we want to do is we want to fillet these edges here, because if you notice, these here all have a fillet of radius 1. So if we go to fillet and select all of our edges, now if you look at this, it's saying, oh, we can't do that, but that's because it's at radius 10. So we'll set it back to 1. You could even go 2 if you'd like, it really doesn't matter. Let's just go 1. Press OK. One of the nice things we can do is we can just quickly hide this plane by right-clicking it and going visibility. Now we're pretty much done. This is all there is to it. We then want to quickly change the material. This here is made out of cast iron. So if we go over to our materials thing and go iron cast, where was that? Iron cast, there we go. So we'll now make it black. I don't know why cast iron is black, but oh well. Last thing we want to do is we want to save. So go over to save, press OK, and you want to save this as housing. That's what it's called. Press save. Awesome, now you're completely done. Thank you for watching.